Good morning, everyone. Hi, this is Rahul, your Filmi Baniya, and good morning again, and a very, very happy new year to all of you. To wish you a prosperous and extremely fulfilling 2020. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be my first podcast for this year, and I want to start it with a bang. And I would like to talk about the Oscars, the Oscar nominations, which just came in day before yesterday on Monday here in and I was like really surprised, and at the same time I was very, very intrigued. So today I'm going to share with you my perspective on the Oscar nominations for 2020. So let's have a look, and I would say that what the Academy has done this year is they've totally overturned what the Golden Globes have done. So Golden Globe was far more inclusive. They tried some new stuff in terms of getting new. They would ignore certain well-known names and well-known productions. But what Oscars have done is they have done the opposite. They've gone largely with the popular vote of the box office and the stature of the productions. Now just have a look. So Joker leads with 11 Oscar nominations. I think this is the maximum ever for a comic book movie. 10 for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 1917 also 10. And there is Parasite, which is a Korean film directed by the award-winning director of Snowpiercer, and 6 Oscar nominations for them. And then, of course, reasonable amount of nominations for Marriage Story. So, and then there is, of course, the honorable mentions of Jojo Rabbit and Little Women. So, just look at that. That's like 24 nominations only for Netflix productions. This includes Marriage Story, The Two Popes, and The Irishman. So what I feel is what the Oscars have done this year is that they have awarded the usual suspects. I mean, got them at least in the nominations perspective. If you look at it, there are no women directors in the Best Directors category. And that can be a little bit of a dampener because women are really strong, and there is, of course, Little Women, which has been rated as one of the best films of the year, which has been directed by Greta Gerwig, and whose partner Noah Baumbach has been nominated for Marriage Story. But I would say that she was given a snub. It was unexpected. I think this year has been the year of inclusion. They could have been more inclusive. And if you look at it, we have the best directors are all men. Martin Scorsese for Irishman, Todd Phillips, again surprise, Joker. Sam Mendes, of course, we knew this would be done for 1917. Quentin Tarantino, as I told you, the usual suspect, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the big surprise is Bong Joon-ho. Who? For Parasite. Bong Joon-ho, sorry. That's right, correct pronunciation. And what is most important to note is that there is a very, very concerted effort to award popular choices. And I was obviously really surprised to see Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. And there is a very, very wide variety of content. So just let's have a look at the Best Picture nomination, which is the most coveted Oscar, according to a lot of people. Ford versus Ferrari, a movie about American versus Italian glory, largely American actually. The Irishman, about a hitman in the 1970s. Jojo Rabbit, again a period piece in the times of Hitler. Joker, again in 1970s. Little Women, again away from the time. So if you look at it, Marriage Story then there is 1917. So Marriage Story, okay, can be, that's like current, present times. 1917, of course, as the name says, it is in 1917. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is 1960s and 1960s Hollywood, and Parasite can be the current time. So out of the 9 best Oscar nominations for Best Picture, only Marriage Story and Parasite are set in current times. So 7 of the Best Picture nominations are from past. The times they're set in is essentially away from the current time. So that tells you the romance to history, to literature, and to the time which has gone by. And that's quite fascinating. And I think that's the real deal, that the audiences and the academies, 9,000 odd members across the world, they like period pieces. They don't want to talk about the current times. Now, is that a vindication of the anti-Trump sentiment across the US? I really don't know, but it looks like people love those stuff, something which is not about the current times. I mean, otherwise, just Marriage Story, which is just about a couple in today's day and age. That's the only thing left. And there is, just look about it. It's like all these movies are essentially in the 1950s, 60s, Little Women a little earlier, but it's all history drama, and it's quite fascinating. And for lead actor, I would say that Joaquin Phoenix was really expected, Adam Driver was expected, DiCaprio was expected, Banderas was not expected, but Jonathan Pryce in The Two Popes is a revelation. I think this is real, can be the real surprise. I don't know whether he'll win or not, but that's there. And the other snub I saw was that Robert De Niro was not given the best actor nomination for The Irishman. On the other hand, the supporting actor category, both Joe Pesci and Al Pacino have been nominated. I also would like to have a look at adapted screenplay, and it features Greta Gerwig for Little Women, Just Mercy, Andrew Lanham and Destin Daniel Cretton, Joker by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi, and The Irishman by Steven Zaillian, and The Two Popes by Anthony McCartan. So here also in adapted screenplay, one can see that they have gone out with the popular sentiment, which is The Irishman, The Two Popes, and Joker being really popular films, and Little Women. For original screenplay, people will, really debate this, but there's a very, very fierce fight out there. There's Knives Out by Rian Johnson, Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach, 1917 by Sam Mendes and Christy Wilson Keynes, Usual Suspect, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time, Hollywood, and Parasite, which is a real surprise, by Bong Joon-ho and Jin Won-han. Cinematography, I think it's anybody's game. There's Irishman, Joker, Lighthouse, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think Roger Deakins for 1917 should get it. It's like the word is literally out there in filmmaking circles. Then there's, of course, documentaries, short subject, live action. And in best foreign language film, India never makes it to the cut ever. That's like quite horrible. But we have Pedro Almodovar's latest movie, Pain and Glory, which has been also nominated with Antonio Banderas as the best actor. So I think Pedro Almodovar, as he's very well known across global circles, has a strong chance. But then there's Les Miserables and Honeyland and Corpus Christi and Parasite itself. In film editing, of course, Ford vs. Ferrari, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Parasite. I've been told Thelma Schoonmaker for Irishman should get it, but even Michael McCusker and Andrew Buckland for Ford vs. Ferrari should get it as well. Sound editing, Ford, Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time, and Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. It's really tough to call. In production design, something which I'm really excited about, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time, and Parasite. I would say production design, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, and Once Upon a Time are equally poised. In original score, although there is The King, Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, 1917, Marriage Story, Little Women, and Joker by Hildur Gudnadottir, but I would say it's a very easy call, I think, for Joker, for Hildur. Then there's original song, makeup and hair, again, all including Maleficent for makeup and hair, Bombshell is a great film, Joker, Judy in 1917. visual effects has Avengers Endgame, but Irishman is a strong contender, 1917 as well. Lion King and the Rise of Skywalker. So guys, so what is it? So let's look at this whole thing and one perspective that this was not the year of inclusion for the Academy. People are already saying that they didn't include Lupita Nyong'o for Us, and the only person who has been in lead actor and actress of color, if you were to call Antonio Banderas as color for lead actor, there's only Cynthia Erivo for Harriet who's got it. Otherwise, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy. They're all white actresses. Even in the supporting actor category, you have no people of color. Tom Hanks, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Irishman, Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time. And even in supporting actress, there is Kathy Bates, Laura Dern, my favorite, Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. Actually, it's quite a unique feat for Scarlett Johansson because she's got 2 nominations, one in Best Supporting Actress for Jojo Rabbit and Best Actress for Marriage Story. It's quite an achievement. She might just win one of these. And for the Best Director, Scorsese for Irishman, Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, and Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. It's a very tough call. Best Director is a really tough call. But I think if people want to avoid controversy, they would just give it to Sam Mendes. And so that's about it. A very, very mixed bag yet again by the Oscars committee. And the Oscars go live on the 9th of February. You can tell me what you feel about these nominations. And of course, I would like to make a small mention about the Indian connection in the Oscars. So, a well-known Indian-American filmmaker, Jagmohan Mundra, who's no longer alive, his daughter, she has produced a movie called St. Louis Superman, which is a short subject documentary. And she has been very much there championing this cause. Her name is Smriti Mundra, and she is one of the one who has been nominated here for Best Documentary Short Subject. Many, many thanks for listening. This was my roundup of the Oscars 2020. This is Rahul, your Filmi Baniya. We have also started our YouTube channel, which is just called Filmi Baniya. Hit the bell icon, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are also available on Anchor and Spotify by the same name. And I write my weekly column for the news portal Pen News, which is pennews.net. Please follow us and also look at our Instagram handle. That's also Filmi Baniya. Many, many thanks for listening. This is Rahul. Thank you so much.